American Water Polo.
Hi, this is Dane Manuma from American Water Polo, and we're here today with Matt Anderson of Connecticut College to better understand the recruiting process. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing pretty well, Damon. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I appreciate the time. I'm sure you've got a lot of things going on at home and also on the work front. So I appreciate the time.
All right, very good.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit about yourself and also Connecticut College.
Well, I'm sixth year at Connecticut College. Before that, I was 12 years at Michigan, a year at Indiana, 2 years at San Jose State. Here at Connecticut College, I do the men and women's programs, and then I also teach a couple classes in the physical education department. And you can see the college behind me. That actually is our view. Our view is the water, right outside the pool, which has windows and is all deep and everything. You have a clear view of the Thames River. Our college is part of the NESCAC, though, as you know better than most. Water polo is in a bunch of different conferences. And so we're in Collegiate Water Polo Association for the East Coast. So our opponents are, range all over from, on the men's side, Texas and, going down to Pennsylvania, where on the women's side up to Minnesota, also Pennsylvania, places like that. We're a liberal arts school, and everybody lives on campus all 4 years, so it's pretty hands-on learning, only 10 per class. And so you have direct first name with all the teachers. They don't have TAs or anything like that. And then, like I mentioned, we're in an all-deep facility, so being able to use the pool works out well between us and our two swim programs.
Great. So what can athletes do to get recruited? How should they promote themselves? What would be your recommendation?
Well, a big part of it, especially nowadays, is, doing social media. And that's the best way right now. I mean, we have an Instagram, we have a Snapchat, Twitter, every college has that. And the best way for a recruit now to get more of an understanding about the different schools and whatnot they're looking at is to actively get on different social media sites. With that, in terms of being able to send even, iPhone videos to coaches, whether that be, from, a game they were doing, a practice they were doing, or even, an interest type introduction. We would love to be able to do Zoom meetings with everybody. We also would love to be able to have an opportunity to connect with everybody. But when you're looking at like a Connecticut College, we're on the East Coast. Those on the West Coast versus the East Coast, it's a lot different because we tend to cover the whole nation, not just as, let's say, a Southern California school. 90% of their recruits are in Southern California. So the hours are all different. But the emails are good, but I do think that, the text and virtual messaging is, I go on and I see who's now following us, and I check and see if that's a recruit. Then that gives us an opportunity to pursue them a little bit quicker than trying to go through the, 50 emails every 2 or 3 days that we get.
Right. Huh. That's interesting. How can high school coaches and club coaches, how do they play a role in, helping coaches along, helping athletes along that process?
Well, the biggest thing, and, you've been a high school coach. I was a high school coach for years in California, and you tend to forget about the colleges all over the nation, Division I, Division II, Division III. So for Connecticut College, we're at a level academically that we're not easy to get into. And so we don't look at the recruits physically saying you have to meet this criteria. Where if you're at a Division I, the size, the speed, things like that all come into play. At a school like ours, we want you here because of the academics and because of what we can offer. So that means anybody on a high school team is capable of playing in college. Now, that might be the 200 plus club programs that, that are out there that, you can find that information on the CWPA website, or it could be the 20 plus Division III programs out there, not just the ones on the West Coast. So when I am talking with the recruit and everything, I want to make sure they are correct for the college. To me, yes, I would love to be able to say, well, you got to have this size, you got to have that speed, but it's much different at the level that we're at. You need to make sure that the school is appropriate for you. And then if you play water polo, that just opens another door to go off to a school like Connecticut College. So, when I was a high school coach back in the day, I did not think about my number 7, number 8 on the team having an opportunity to go play at smaller Division III schools. I mean, I've had players come out that didn't start on their high school team that have developed into All-Americans at Division III, because ultimately, if you have the drive and the desire and the teaching and the effort and everything like that, why hold yourself back? So, most kids get better in college, and that goes for the ones that are not getting all the accolades in high school as well.
Interesting. So the academic, you obviously Connecticut College is academically a very challenging place to get into. But you're also saying is, look, if you have the opportunity, whether you're the best player on your team or not, you need to open up your eyes to the chance to play in college, and there's a lot of opportunity for everyone.
Yeah, and I've had players that have had opportunities to go Division II, Division I, but they also understand going to Division III, at least out here on the East Coast and in the NESCAC. In general, we follow our conference rules, which academics is first, academics is second, and then extracurricular is third. So they may have had an opportunity to play West Coast water polo on Division I or Division II and decided that they wanted more of an opportunity to do the different things. School like ours, Connecticut College, we encourage kids to study abroad. So 60% of our graduating seniors spend a semester in another country. Most schools, and you can probably say 99% of Division I schools, would not allow their students to do that athletically, where we do encourage that. So, the passion is still there to be the best that you want. The passion is still there to win the game. 32 minutes, every shot clock, you play like overtime. That doesn't change. But going back to your dorm room and what your focus is, that is what changes. We all hear coaches at the higher level say, well, for 24 hours, and then we'll move on. Now, at least at Division III at Connecticut College, we're talking within 24 minutes, you're moving on and you're getting on with what ultimately brought you to the school.
Right. So what are some of the character traits you're looking for, when you're recruiting, you're talking to these PSAs?
Well, I mean, we want somebody athletically that loves the game. We want somebody that wants to be a good teammate, and we want somebody that is willing to continually try and improve in every aspect. And then academically, we want somebody that is curious, somebody that intellectually wants to continue to get better, that wants to, at least what we offer here at Connecticut College, step outside the box and kind of find what is going to be appropriate for what you want to do down the road. Not just, well, I have to take this class, I have to take that class. We want somebody that is willing to explore academically different aspects. And when it comes down to it, is we just want somebody, any university probably does, but we want somebody that wants to continue to grow. And if that means academically and athletically, then go play varsity water polo. and that's what we try and offer here at Connecticut College.
Excellent. So you talked about some of the social media aspects of the recruiting side and the interaction you have with athletes, virtually. I guess nothing really replaces a phone conversation or say a Zoom call. How would you recommend athletes prepare for a phone conversation that they're going to have with a coach?
And that's a good point. I mean, the biggest thing is one phone call's not going to make or break it. And, one phone call generally can be an introduction, this and that. And then after that phone call, now you have a better understanding of, hey, let me get on the website, let me get more specific. So next time I interact with that coach, I can ask specific questions regarding this or that. And that phone call may be 5 minutes, it may be 25 minutes. And so don't think that every single answer has to be spot on.
Okay.
It's just, understand that we know as coaches, hopefully you have 10 to 20 different schools you're looking at, because then you can narrow it down and have a better idea of what you want. If you're only looking at 2 or 3 schools and you're totally zoned on that, that's when you get disappointed, and that's when you're not truly looking for the correct fit out there. Now, ultimately, I would love the fact when a recruit contacts me, oh yeah, we're number one on their list. But I also know that that's not the reality. It's, you have to be able to have a lot of different things on your plate, and then you start narrowing it down. And part of that, yes, comes with the relationship you could have with coaches, but also in the opportunity to have a relationship with different students or student athletes at that school. And so that first phone call is just a beginning for everybody to kind of lay the groundwork, and then you go from there.
Okay, great. So with the COVID-19 outbreak that we're currently going through, and the loss of some larger tournaments that are either being postponed or canceled, what should a PSA do to be seen?
Well, and yeah, and that's changing everybody's recruiting, but it's changing the Division I more than a school like Connecticut College. As I said, I mean, previously we recruiting wise are able to get out to 1 to 2 tournaments a year. So I'm running both programs, no assistant coach. So at that point, the weekends to go to the Beast of the East down in Pennsylvania, or to the Holiday Cup tournament out in California, don't generally fit on my schedules. That's where the summertime comes into play. And whether that be Junior Olympics or the state challenge that American water polo has, those are opportunities we look for. But now with the coronavirus, it goes back to what I said at the beginning. For someone like myself, academically is good enough for me to recruit you, because you need to understand at Division III, that's what the focus is. Now, if I can get game tape on you, even if you're not playing this summer or you weren't able to finish in the spring, I can take last year's just to get a general idea. But going back, my personal philosophy, which has changed. I mean, when I was at Michigan, it purely came down to the physical aspect, and then the social aspect in terms of big school appropriate for you. But at Connecticut College, the physical aspect is not something that is going to make or break the deal. It's going to be the passion inside. It's going to be the opportunity to want to get better academically and go from there. So it goes back to video clips are fine, complete games are fine, but ultimately make sure if you're looking at a Division III that the school is correct for you academically, and then see where the water polo program fits.
Okay, great. That's really good advice. I mean, you have a pretty good handle of the academic rigors of Division III schools in general, and obviously at Connecticut College. So I think having that fit is pretty critical when you're going through that process.
Yeah, and part of that is also having all your ducks in a row, meaning look at the cost of schools, make sure that your parents have their financial information available on every college website. They can get a pre-read and things like that, and just as if we would love to see you, we know you would love to see us. And at least for Connecticut College, we're not allowing any on-campus visits till at least June 1st. So hopefully during the summer that will change. But right now, like I said, you go on the web, you can get an aerial tour with a drone, and you can get a good idea of what the campus looks like, which is an important factor because you're going to be walking around that campus every day.
Right.
So part of it is getting a feel for the college community. The community outside the college isn't as important as you think it is, because at the end of the day, you're not running away every weekend to go somewhere, because you
Right.
have a lot of academic, athletic responsibilities and just general social responsibilities. So you stay within the general college campus environment. And that goes for any school you go to.
Right. Can you give me any, obviously you have years of experience, at different programs. Can you give me like a common misconception that PSAs and parents might have about the recruiting process?
Yeah, can you repeat that, please?
Can you give me like a misconception that parents and PSAs might have about the recruiting process in general?
Yes. I mean, I think that going back to, they think everything has to be perfect.
Okay.
We have to have a video with great music that only shows your highlights and everything like that. That's not the case. We just want to see the basics of who you are as an athlete. I, as a coach, can pick out your vertical, your horizontal skills by watching a game. And we know when something is taped only to show the highlights, but that's not what we want. We want to see you in an environment just to make sure that, how are you reacting when the play doesn't involve you? How are you reacting in the fourth quarter versus the first quarter when your conditioning might come into play, or your awareness about ball, player, area, things like that. So and same in an interview. I mean, just like right now, yes, I have more experience when I'm talking to somebody, but if I'm 17 or 18 and I get video clips of people trying to introduce themselves, and you can tell they're nervous. We understand that. So it doesn't have to be professionally done. As I said, a PSA of you holding your phone is good enough. You don't have to go spend hundreds of dollars to have someone come in and make sure the lighting is correct and everything like that. That, at the end of the day, is not what's going to get you into a college. Ultimately, it's just how you interact with the coach and the players, and then also the teachers and the admissions people on the campuses you're visiting.
Okay, great. That's a good piece of advice. Yeah, it doesn't need to be perfect. I think that's a great piece of advice that can be taken through a lot of aspects of life, right?
Hey, you just touched your face. I hope you washed your hands, Damon Newman.
I mean, I haven't been out of the house. I mean, I was out of the house today, walking around, but
Keep working on it. This is I started growing this. I shaved it after 2 weeks, and now I'm just going to let it go.
now you're back. Now you're back. Well, I think I'm going to go out for grocery shopping later tonight. So
Can
I'll
I
be
give
all
you a
right.
list of stuff that I need?
Hey, Matt, final question. For an athlete, watching this, interested in Connecticut College or a school in general, what should they do? What should their next step be? What should their first step be, actually?
Well, I mean, understand that, a coach, it's different. I send somebody a text, an email, a buddy. Usually I know if they have kids, they may not get back to me right away. If they don't, they'll probably get back to me right away. But it's okay if you don't hear from them immediately, okay? Because everybody has things going on, especially myself, 2 kids running around, different committees I'm on with the college and everything. The response is going to be over the next few months, because you have an opportunity to explore different things to find out about Connecticut College or any college in general. And same with myself. I mean, so, yes, depending on, how quickly you figure, the best thing to do is find out if a coach prefers texting, emails, phone calls, just like I need to find out if a recruit likes texting, emails, phone calls. I have some recruits I'll email and I won't hear back for 10 days.
Right.
That normally that would have bothered me back in the day, but now it doesn't. Because conversely, I have kids I'll text and I'll hear back in 20 seconds, but in a text, you may not get to be able to get as much information out as an email. And same with a phone call. The biggest thing I would say for a recruit, the amount of phones I've called, this person does not have a voicemail box set up. Or it says, this voicemail box is full. That shows you might be a little bit lazy. Now that comes into play then. So please clean out all your messages. And number two, set up a voicemail box, because ultimately that's going to be more important than just a text that takes 10 seconds to send back and forth.
Right.
And that'd be my wanted piece of advice for student athletes.
I like that, definitely. Hey, Matt, I really appreciate the time. This is Matt Anderson, the men's and women's coach at Connecticut College. Just giving us some more information about the recruiting process. This is Damon Newman from American Water Polo. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and our website, americanwaterpolo.org. And remember, it's important to stay connected to what's important to you. Thanks again, Matt. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Damon. Always good seeing you.